The Vexax Empire was in turmoil. The mysterious alien race known only as the Tsari had appeared seemingly out of nowhere, conquering Vexax planets along the border with ruthless efficiency. Their advanced weaponry and tactics rendered Vexax defenses useless. In desperation, High Command reached out to the Galactic Council, requesting aid. Most species kept their heads down, unwilling to anger the aggressive Tsari. Only the humans offered help. They dispatched Captain Ezalb, llasad, known across the stars for both his brilliance and eccentricity. Unorthodox llasad, some called him for his tendency to throw away the rulebook. Yet his unusual strategies also gained stunning victories. Lassad's ship arrived unannounced above the Vexax homeworld Safax. His crew included 2 burly Valgar mercenaries, a cybernetically enhanced human named Ash, and a floating AI bot named Zed. They teleported directly into the royal palace, thoroughly bypassing security. Waiting there was Galactic Ambassador Zorve, as well as the Vexax Empress. Captain llasad, while I appreciate your offer, showing up uninvited is irregular, said Zorve. The Empress merely stared silently, clearly offended. Apologies, good Zorve. Your Majesty, said llasad, offering a sweeping bow. But time is short, yes? Please take me to your tactical center, so I can analyze fleet engagements and advise accordingly. So you can inspect our failures for yourself, said the Empress stiffly. Then perhaps share them with our enemies when this is over? Your Majesty doubts my intentions? You wound me, said llasad. But worry not, I will earn your trust. His grin widened. In fact, come along on my first excursion. You can monitor my actions personally. The Empress assented, and soon they were aboard llassad's heavily modified starship, facing a squadron of Tsari vessels. Stay close to planet Lawn 3, cautioned the Empress. Our planetary guns offer cover there. Nonsense, we're going on the offensive, said llasad. Helm, set course through the belt, maximum burn. The Empress was aghast. The belt. But the asteroid field is far too dense. The ships plunged into the tumbling rocks. Turrets fired at last second, blasting obstacles mere meters ahead. The Tsari gave chase, struggling to keep up. 3 pursuers smashed against rocks while llasad danced through the chaos, whooping excitedly. They burst from the belt, practically on top of the Tsari fleet. Before the surprised enemy could react, llassad's ship unleashed a blistering broadside barrage. Explosions rippled down their ranks as he laughed maniacally. The Tsari moved to surround them when suddenly all their ships lost power, drifting aimlessly. Ash, you magnificent bastard, that virus worked splendidly, shouted llasad. On her screens, the Empress watched in awe as the remaining Vexax ships, now outnumbering the paralyzed Tsari, closed in like a pack of wolves. They made quick work of the helpless enemy. Then lassad's derelict rigged bombs activated on several opposing ships. Huge fireballs finished the job. When the smoke cleared, not a single Tsari ship remained intact. llasad grinned fiercely at his dumbfounded passenger. Still doubt me, Your Majesty? This is only the beginning. Over succeeding months, llasad helped the Tsari forces with cunning ploys the methodical aliens struggled to counter. Sensor ghosts tricked them into ambushes. Micro-wormhole mines devastated their calculated jump routes. Flotillas fell to AI viruses or overcharged beams from his jury-rigged flagship. The arrogant Tsari grew enraged, and confounded by such an eccentric foe, their warp interdictors prevented his ships from retreating into FTL space during a heated battle. Yet llasad once again laughed in delight as Ash opened an immense portal. His battered force withdrew, while automated drones covered them, distorting sensor readings. By now, the Vexax had regained substantial territory. Emboldened by their strange human allies, lassad's crew were treated as heroes on Imperial worlds. Meanwhile, the mysterious Tsari changed tactics, probing for weaknesses. One scouting group captured a human science vessel. Rather than interrogate, they simply obliterated all hands, then analyzed every shred of data, seeking insights on the unusual humans. The cold, systematic carnage sent shockwaves through the Alliance. A furious military council assembled, debating responses. Hawkish admirals pushed for large-scale mobilization against Tsari space. But High Command wished to avoid a full interstellar war. They approved only precision strikes against those responsible. Destroy the cruisers known to be at Drex's station, then withdraw immediately. Captain llasad, unfortunately, had other plans. No one stopped revenge-bent humans. That was well known. So when llasad's upgraded warships reached Drexus flying the black flag, Vexax commanders merely monitored. Surely no sane being would engage a station bristling with state-of-the-art warship, squadrons, and orbital weapons. They soon realized llasad was not entirely sane. Ash teleported aboard the command cruiser and sabotaged systems across the docks. Then the humans charged straight into Hellfire. Sheltering behind their warship's powerful shields, they unleashed salvo after salvo even as 3 cruisers exploded under the pounding. Point defense lasers obliterated incoming missiles, while railguns launched asteroid chunks in trajectory-defying corkscrews. Soldier bots teleported into opposing ships sowing chaos. With cold determination, llasad deactivated safety protocols and overcharged everything, hell-bent on vengeance. His flagship split into 3, as bridge sections became independent cruisers joined by dozens of drone fighters. The unorthodox tactics bewildered station controllers. Explosions rippled along docks as Ash's viruses took their toll. 2 cruisers veering out of control smashed into the central hub. Accelerated asteroids battered already weakened blast shields. Molten metal spewed as a glancing rail shot drilled the station core. By the time the last maimed Frankenship retreated, Drexus was a shattered hulk spewing debris and fireballs. Stunned Vexax observers were speechless at the sheer audacity. High Command desperately negotiated a truce. Fearful this unrestrained human fury could ignite a full-scale war. The brilliant yet unpredictable Captain llasad had succeeded once more, displaying the chaotic qualities making humanity so feared yet respected. The Vexax Empire had been saved from annihilation by their strange but valuable allies. However, this was just the beginning. Emboldened by their successes, llasad and his crew continued launching ever more daring assaults against TSRE forces. They became legends known across the galaxy for pulling victory from the jaws of defeat using unorthodox strategies. Meanwhile, the methodical Sari struggled to comprehend and counter such an irrational enemy. After ambushing a key fleet near the TSRE homeworld itself, llasad had an epiphany. The TSRE coordination and efficiency was also their greatest weakness. They relied too much on central control and intricate planning. So he hatched his boldest plan yet. They would capture a critical TSRE command node and use it to feed their fleet false data, sabotaging the entire invasion. After months of intelligence gathering and infiltration aided by Vexax insurgents, llasad's team pinpointed the prime target, Station X-21, a major logistics and control hub. Leading a small strike force, they approached X-21 under guise of a routine transport. But instead of goods, the cargo modules held squads of elite Marines. ECM generators hid their presence until it was too late. Boarding pods burst from the freighter, latching onto crucial junctions before automated defenses could react. The jamming ended and all hell broke loose. Alarms wailed as the Marines blasted through corridors towards the command center. Scoutbots sowed chaos in other sections, drawing away security forces. Bulkhead doors slammed down trying to block llasad's relentless advance. Ash jacked into a console, injecting override algorithms and scrambling station networks. Blast doors groaned open just long enough for the squad to rush through. Automated turrets suddenly turned on their controllers. The Marines gunned them down and kept pressing forward. Explosions rocked the command center as they blew the final layers of armor. Then llasad was through, tossing flash charges to blind the surprised Sari officers within. Moments later, the room was secured. Ash quickly hacked the main systems, planting backdoors and hidden commands. Then he began broadcasting bogus course data and schedules throughout the sector, throwing fleets into disarray. Some squadrons warped directly into ambushes or planetary exclusion zones. Freighters delivered cargoes to barren moons. Chaos multiplied as ships low on fuel were refused permission to dock at stations, suddenly reporting full. Military commanders demanding answers received only garbled messages and falsified reports. Widespread confusion reigned across dozens of systems. Meanwhile, llasad's crew broadcast announcements claiming responsibility for the mayhem, stating key infrastructures would continue suffering randomized failure events until the invasion ended. Of course, they kept details of the actual operation secret. The unplanned anarchy was incomprehensible to the methodical Sari, bred on order and precision. Their invasion faltered as supply chains failed. Patrols wasted time chasing sensor ghosts or searching empty sectors. With no clear patterns to analyze, their efficiency dissolved. Even localized system failures triggered fleet-wide paralysis without centralized direction, and the hackers remained hidden, randomizing their tampering. After weeks struggling to explain the chaos, the Tsari finally withdrew the remnants of their battered invasion force back past the border zones. Although the Vexax now rejoiced, llasad knew this reprieve was temporary. The Tsari would return with new tactics and protocols, trying to eliminate randomness and shore up weaknesses. High Command agreed, declaring they must go on the offensive before that happened. Take the modified command station itself straight into Sari space. Trailed by his infamous warship and other vessels, they would jump behind enemy lines and unleash targeted mayhem across multiple systems. Little did the Terri know this, that a Trojan horse was coming for them. Upon crossing the border, they overwhelmed isolated bases and sensor arrays before reinforcements could arrive. Penetrating deeper, they broadcast claims of a stolen station now controlled by vengeful humans and launching raids. llasad gave the uncreative name Chaos Station when giving bold interviews. In reality, they kept jumping randomly using Ash's navigation algorithms, operating more as a mobile base. From Chaos Station, they deployed strike teams in specialized transports capable of micro-jumps, surgically targeting critical nodes. Ash infiltrated networks, leaking ships' command prefixes and security codes. This granted raiding parties access to bypass defenses around stations and infrastructure hubs. Marine saboteurs then moved in, planting viruses to magnify confusion. They even located a Sari fleet testing zone, disguising Chaos Station as a medical refuge. They drifted into the proving grounds. Then they ambushed numerous uniquely configured testbed warships trapped inside with nowhere to retreat. The Tsari pulled together a squadron to destroy the troublesome station, but llasad had planned for that. Automated systems activated just as the enemy approached firing range. Chaos Station's infrastructure, including ore smelters, fuel tanks, and a drive assembly factory meant for colonies, rapidly reconfigured into a sprawling megaship. Kilometers of framework extended in all directions as specialized modules self-connected. Tractor beams snatched nearby debris into the whirling mass, while railgun constructors built new armor plating from refined materials. Attack drones swarmed the confused Tsari ships moments before they came in range. By the time they could respond, it was too late. When the battle ended, a battered yet functional gladiator ship drifted in space. Much of the original station's equipment and resources now comprised the armor, plating, and secondary weapons batteries reinforcing the megaship's frame. Despite outrageous firepower and defenses, it still retained docking claws to latch other vessels. It was a mobile base, ideal for deep strikes and raids. Emboldened by their early victories, the Vexax pressed harder, seizing back planets and forcing the Tsari to retreat. Lassad's campaign of infrastructure disruption magnified the breakdown in enemy coordination and logistics. The methodical aliens struggled frantically to contain spreading failure cascades, even as opportunistic factions rebelled, no longer fearing Tsari repercussions. Both order and morale unraveled. Increasingly desperate for a solution, the Tsari centralized more control functions back to their homeworld nexus, trying to manually direct forces. At tremendous cost, they finally managed to anticipate and ambush llassad's raiders attacking a key resupply base. His specialized dropships took heavy losses punching back out. Realizing surprise was now lost, the unorthodox human changed strategies once more. Their new plan was outright audacious even by his standards. They would capture the Tsari central nexus itself. After months gathering intelligence on nexus security, Ash reported he could hack the lower-tier coordination hub. This regulated only basic implementation, not true command. However, it did contain access routes to upper-tier strategic nodes. Capturing those would allow reprogramming even the ruling overminds. Llassad risked everything on this brazen assault far behind enemy lines. His megaship formed the spearhead, leading an armada, built from whatever Vexax and rebel ships volunteered. If Ash failed, their ramshackle fleet faced annihilation, attacking the heavily guarded Tazari homeworld. But amazingly, the hacked codes worked. Many perimeter defenses powered down as they approached. The megaship breached near the nexus, shrugging off glancing blows. Troop pods shot out barely ahead of railgun slugs, crashing into structures connecting the central spire to lower pylons. Marines spilled out securing links to the regional control hub. Field generators fortified bulkheads just before fusillades arrived from deeper interior weapons. With access points stable, llasad committed his entire strike force. Transports and gunships swept past the megaship's shields, offloading assault teams under cover of missiles and drone swarms. Saboteurs accompanied tech squads towards buried data cores. Successive layers detected the physical breach, dispatching hunter-killers. Marine skirmishers battled warbots in the maze-like interconnects, while heavy combat mechs dueled the large insectile enforcers emerging from subsidiary warrens. Fighting reached the hub portal itself, just as Ash infiltration attempts triggered fatal antiviral protocols. With no way forward except brute force, llasad deployed his ultimate weapons. Captured Tazari annihilators were reprogrammed by Ash. The former miners and servant drones retained powerful plasma cannons. Now they became llasad shock troopers. The hulking 4-meter aliens lumbered through raging firefights toward the reinforced doorways. Unleashing rapid plasma fire point-blank, their hellish beams melted through barrier fields and armor. Molten metal exploded in all directions as they slowly advanced. Behind the juggernauts, assault teams poured into the steaming holes before stunned defenders could react. Fighting reached the central chamber housing primary overmines. These massive creatures directed all Tazari civilization from central pods. Yet having never faced an incursion here, they had no physical defenses. As annihilator fire breached their innermost sanctum, the critically linked overmines perished. In one decisive stroke, the leadership of the vast Tazari Empire was beheaded. As central control dissolved, all direction and cohesion vanished. Vexax reinforcements seized vital logistics hubs and borders, cementing battlefield victories. Without corrective responses, confusion overwhelmed isolated commanders trying vainly to regroup. llasad briefly considered trying to control the nexus, but the risk of destroying Tazari civilization was too great. This invasion had been based on a misunderstanding. Further destruction served no purpose, so they rigged explosives to permanently shatter the central spire and withdrew back to Vexax territory as the leaderless Tazari Empire collapsed. The Vexax Empire celebrated llasad as a legendary hero who turned impending defeat into total victory against a powerful enemy. Names like Chaosbringer and Overmind's Bane spread in countless retellings of daring exploits, but llasad and his eccentric yet loyal crew eventually departed to new adventures beyond imperial borders or fame. The Tazari returned to isolation, abandoning interstellar expansion and resolving territorial disputes with the Vexax. They remained a powerful force, but seemed to have learned greater flexibility and caution against impulsive actions from their disastrous conflict. Meanwhile, humanity's notoriety grew tremendously across the region. Unpredictably dangerous yet invaluable allies capable of finding opportunity and victory where least expected.